What's up out there? I have a little bit over 80 hours in the game, and I'm kind of embarrassed to say that I totally ignored all of this text up here up until today. For some reason, I happened to catch that, and I was like, that's kind of interesting. So let's take a look at support gym capacity, and I figure there's probably somebody else that hasn't noticed it either, so that's why we got this video. If you go up here and mouse over this, it will say that this lists how many support gyms you can have of each attribute. You can have one support gym per 5 points in that attribute. Now, this follows suit in the way support gyms and things are created in Path of Exile 1. They're different colors. I think all your regular skill gyms are different colors as well. It threw me off. Like if I go into here and I look at these, the colors of these, I know that's how PoE 1 is, but I didn't give it a whole lot of thought in PoE 2 because if you look at some of these, like that's a little darker blue, that's a little bit lighter blue, this is more red, that's more orange. So I didn't quite give it as much thought as I probably should have. But if you look at, like this is a red one, it's got a strength requirement. This is an orange one, which also has a strength requirement. These blues are slightly different, but they're both int based, and then these are both dex based. Like I said, when I'm looking at my support gyms up to this point, I've really just been looking at this screen here. Now I know I don't think I actually have an uncut skill gym, or uncut support gym, but if you go to the uncut screen, they are different colors and everything, and I knew that was there, but I just didn't quite put two and two together until I was looking at this for this video. So your base class has certain attributes. So if we come in here, by default, now I've got some stuff in the passive tree for extra strength. So I can't say that this is my default strength, but the warrior, this is a warrior. This warrior has a default of 7 dex and 7 int. That means if I come over here to the gym screen, I can have 1 dex support gym and 1 int support gym. The way I was interpreting these things, if I mouse over this, it says that I need 10 dex. I presumed, because I was looking at these kind of in maybe a vacuum, whatever the word I'm looking for, I was looking at these separately from each other. So when I was looking at a support gym, I would see that, hey, I needed 10 more dex. So I would go over to my passive tree or look for a ring or something like that that had the dex on it that would allow me to equip that item. I totally did not get this whole point up here. So if I start equipping all of my gear, that means I will be able to start putting on the rest of the support gems that I have because I've got attributes on my gear that allow me to equip things like this. Gloves gives me 8 dex. So once I start getting everything equipped back on, that means that I can come over here and put this martial tempo back onto my rolling slam. You'll notice that I went from a capacity of 1 of 1 to 2 of 1, and now I can do, 1 of 1. I can only do 1 dex gem now. I can't even socket that because I don't have enough. And if you mouse over this, it says 10 dex required. Again, I thought it was like the requirement for the support gem itself. Apparently, no. Maybe there are some circumstances that are different than this, but this is not on the support gem itself. This requires plus 5 dex, so as long as I have 10 dex, I can equip that. I've got enough to equip 3 support gems for the dexterity side, so that's what I've got. I don't have any int gems equipped at all, so I could equip 4 of these. Now, I did not look through here to see if, I know I've got some higher tier support gems, but I did not look to see. Looks like they're all plus 5 strength and dex. I don't see anything that's higher than plus 5. I was thinking maybe a tier 2 gym or a tier 3 gym would have different requirements, maybe plus 10 or something like that, but it doesn't look like it. Maybe these are all plus 1s. I know I've got some 2s and 3s in here somewhere, but just at a glance, they're all plus 5. So the support gems are not limited by the attributes. I mean, they are limited by the attributes you have, but there is a gem count that is applied to the amount of attributes you have, or however you want to say that. And you can increase that attribute by the passive tree, by your gear and things like that, which I thought was kind of cool because I just thought I needed to have 35 strength in order to equip this, but it just means that I can keep equipping support gems. I can't put that on here. But I can keep equipping support gems on all the different skills as long as I have the capacity up here, which is based on your attributes and things like that. But I thought it was kind of fascinating. So pay attention to gem color for sure. I totally did not. Like I said, some of these are orange or red or like they don't. When you look at this sea of colors, like it doesn't necessarily look like they're all red, blue, or green. They are, but some are like different shades. It was a little confusing. I just didn't quite catch that at first. And then however you apply your attributes over here and then your gear affects how many of these support gems you can actually equip of each one. So another takeaway that I have from this is that I have too much strength. I don't need as many strength gems. I could increase my dex in here. So like as I'm selecting attributes. Now you'll also notice that if you go in here, it's easier to actually try to respec one of these. So if I select this, you'll get all three of these. Strength, every one strength grants 2 life. It does not grant damage to skills or any other benefits except where otherwise stated. Same thing with Dex. Dex grants +5 accuracy, does not grant damage to skills or any other benefits. Int is +2 mana, does not grant damage to skills or anything like that. So in PoE 1, your attributes actually, like strength actually gave you damage. I can't remember exactly what Dex did. Int gives you energy shield or something like that. This one actually gives you mana. This gives you accuracy rating. I think Dex gave you more evasion, if memory serves. So the attributes are a little bit different in PoE 2. And like, for instance, over here, there is this one where brute strength, where you can get 1% increased damage per 15 strength. So that does bump up your damage if you strength stack on here. But for purposes of gearing and selecting skill gems and things like that, if I can equip all my gear, I don't need to keep stacking strength to increase damage. So like I was saying with this example, I could actually, if I had extra int, I could actually drop the int down because I'm not running any int support. So if I had some of these taken for int, I could remove some of those. I can actually remove these two that are strength and maybe build up dex or something like that. I mean, I would lose a little bit of life. It's what, 2 life or something like that. Like I'm not actually losing a ton of life. Yeah, 2 life. So I would lose 4 life, but I could bump up my evasion or something like that. Maybe change it to int and get more mana. So I wanted to bring this forward because chances are somebody else hasn't noticed this either, or hadn't paid much attention to it. If they did notice it, there's a lot of flexibility in this system. This is a lot different than the way PoE 1 is. I've been enjoying the fact that I can take tier 2 or 3 support gems and just equip them. I don't have to worry about leveling these things up. If I have this from my original warrior that's level 70 something or whatever, I can take this off and equip it onto here. I don't have to worry about the level requirement. I mean, the skill gems do, but support gems, you don't have to level up like we did in PoE 1. You don't have to worry about skill requirements. The only requirement you have to have is enough strength to equip it. And if I wanted to equip another dex-based gem, I just need to swap one of these strength ones over to dex or get some extra attributes on my gear, and then I can equip that. Hopefully all of that's made sense, and maybe you learned something. I know I did. I've spent a lot of time in the game so far and just now figured that out. So I figured I would pass it along. That's going to do it for this video. We will catch you on the next one. Take care.